that's okay. We can sit tight, because I gotta wait for him for the, we need to add Malcolm Grass Way and add West Stonehaven Lane for tax money collection. Make sure we get those added in. But outside of that, I can let you move on to other business until he arrives, and we can follow up on that. Okay?
Okay, got it.
I just saw Corey walk through.
Did you set up a final budget review for your CCD and your people yet with Mary? Did you set that
No.
up yet?
You just have those assigned.
Okay.
And also, it's not on the agenda, but is there any way you could approve April 2nd's meeting minutes? Do you remember who? Not sure.
That would've been just Bill and I, wouldn't it?
Or it might have been John.
I think it was me and you.
Oh, was that what, okay.
It was you two, so. Okay, sure.
Yes, that's what it was. It was John and Gary that were here.
Make a motion to, make a motion to approve, April 2nd's meeting minutes as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve April 2nd meeting minutes as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Abstain, absent. Motion passes.
Does Corey know that we got a meeting?
He just walked by.
I know.
Did he? Okay.
Okay.
Oh, that's good news. Yeah. That's good news.
Do you want me to text him?
No, if he needs to come, he needs to come. Scott just said he'll be here in 2 minutes. Is there anybody else here this morning that's on our agenda for anything? No.
Corey, do you have anything for the commissioner meeting?
It'd be a nice meeting today.
There.
Yeah.
Bill, could you put the, talk to Kelly about putting the health department nurses on there? Is you already take care of that?
They're supposed to be here to.
They were supposed to be here to get that. I didn't talk to her personally, but I think that was her marching orders at last week's meeting to come down and get that accomplished.
Hey.
Gentlemen, sorry I pulled you up.
I'll leave the drink cut in there with you.
Usually it's at least 20 minutes.
And then would you call Bernie, see if he might come down here too, Bernie Harris?
What about Kayla?
She could come down to Kayla early. Scott, I know Mary Ann was here too. She had some questions about those easements, those property easements that they submitted the other night.
Yeah, and I think we just wanna make sure it didn't impact the roads.
Yeah, I think we're good to go in this particular location. Basically, we're trading that we can't build a giant road network on it, and they're gonna pay us $58,000 for the reimbursements for the land we bought out there.
Okay, we're not accepting though the WSP thing that she had as far
No.
as a group.
That we need to talk about that more, so.
Yeah,
But this, basically, we say we won't build a road on the land they bought, and they're gonna pay us $58,000 in reimbursement on the land we used to buy.
And
okay.
that's the conservation easement.
Yeah, that's just the conservation easement only. This basically establishes authority to sign, looks like pretty standard stuff.
I read it, I was okay with it legally.
I'm okay with it.
Okay, my concern was as you remember from the last meeting.
Like, I just can't see us building a road down there.
Yeah, no, although they are roadworthy, I was out there on my car.
They are roadworthy.
They are roadworthy.
So,
So we can accept the
there
DNR.
should be 3 places to sign, and there you'll need to notarize. I think it's actually full notarization.
So we can accept the DNR conservation easement
Need to
as
put my seal on it?
We need to notarize, yes.
It's a conservation
Usually it has
easement.
an authorized
Right,
notarize it to
right.
see it.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We accept the DNR conservation easement as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
It's all you. It's all you, chief.
All right.
Ain't rather than blank.
Mhm.
Scribble something on it.
Oh. I can scribble with my big X.
What's her extension on what I'm doing? Here, I'll take that. Thank you.
Do I have it? Is it something I have? Is it the
Probably.
grant or the,
Road extension stuff.
Gary, do you want me to do these acknowledgements on the lanes, Stonehaven?
Oh, do you have them?
I have them, yeah.
Oh,
was
we
it
have
gonna say the Malcolm Grassway?
Yeah, I got
Yeah,
them.
he has them in
They
this
have
one.
them.
Okay, well, that's my sentiment, I guess, in case I'm stupid. Okay.
Can we tell that?
I would like to do the acknowledgements that were received as a county.
Alright. Make a motion that we approve the acknowledgement letter, for Stonehaven Lane, accepting them into the county inventory.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we acknowledge West Stonehaven Lane and that it is, what, entered into the county
You don't have,
inventory
okay, thank you.
as presented.
I just saw you walk by.
All those
so
in
me-
favor say aye.
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 Motion passes.
Make a motion that we approve the acknowledgement letter, accepting, Malcolm Grass Parkway into the county inventory.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we acknowledge the letter accepting Malcolm Grass Way into the county road inventory as presented. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes.
Same thing,
There should have been two total.
Conservation land easements, there are two, I think it.
Yeah, I think you're good on that. That's just a copy.
this is
That
a
is
copy.
just the copy?
Yeah,
The DNR is the official.
Correct.
Okay.
We'll take a look, John. Yep, you can dispose of these.
These
that.
Yeah.
And this line.
Look at that, man, we're getting right through it.
Look at that.
Does that go down here?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll stop to cook over.
Is that for you, son?
Okay.
Guys, Keel points out that we've got Memorial Day Monday for the parks. I think that's when that was scheduled, nobody's gonna be available.
Oh, is it Memorial Day that day?
Yeah.
Well, I'll start, the council's gonna be the one setting it, so let's talk to Deborah real quick. Get with Deborah, you said the day that you.
Meet the Friday before, so everyone has a park to go to on Monday.
I would be.
I was getting ready to mail it to you anyway.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, turns out we were ahead of ourselves, yeah.
Do you get these or?
To Deborah, Deborah's gonna notarize them. Or actually, I don't think I need those notarizations to test to. Just FYI, the Parks Department's also gonna work on some beautification of the roundabouts and a couple other projects gonna be working on. They're gonna be pretty cool stuff. So, I look forward to seeing, and we've already got money set aside in the RDC to fund a lot of their projects too, so it's gonna turn out well.
Are you gonna contact Mary Ann and let her know we signed her DNR?
Yeah, I already did. I told her to swing by my office after, I'm gonna just leave it at office with Dolina,
Okay,
so,
okay.
alright, thanks.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you. I think that he may get a pay increase
Sir? Oh,
Yes, sir.
Does that one,
Nope.
no need either?
Nope. We're not ready to talk about this yet.
Okay.
This is something Scott will need for you. And then we need to determine whether or not that contract.
I know.
For
that's
instance,
the way I like it.
For instance, the DNR is gonna get us $58,000. So we're giving something, we're gonna get something back. We're not sure we're getting something back for that yet. I don't want to design just for design's sake.
Right.
If it's gonna allow us to do grant money to pay for all the asphalt or something, sure. If it's just to have it, we don't want that, just to have it. So.
Yeah. Thank you.
Kayla and Bernie, do you guys want to come up here and speak on the online petition platform for planning?
Bernie must be a ninja. I didn't even see him come in.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for the nomination, by the way, that was wonderful. So as you guys know, we've been working on advancing the, streamlining the review process of permits and petitions in the planning department. Most recently, Bernie and I have been working with Civic Plus, who maintains our county website, on their planning module, which they already have built, and would be pretty easy to set up for planning purposes and to help other departments, like all of the department heads who help review with our technical committee, review petitions in a really timely, streamlined manner. Right now, one of our main issues is a petitioner will come with a great project to the technical committee, and we'll give them all of our paper comments, and then they have to come around and get those all signed off, which could take several months if drainage review and septic and all of this is involved. And by the time the whole thing is actually ready to be permitted, we don't know what the most recent set of plans are. And so it's hard to know if the landscaping got revised because drainage had a say in the curbs and all of this stuff. Anyway, it would be much easier to facilitate permit and petition review with an online permitting program like the one that Civic Plus has. Bernie's been on board with this and has sat through some webinars with us. We recognize that having a IT presence as we launch this is important, and starting with technical committee is a wonderful place to start because it involves multiple departments and is a good way to also bring in somebody that's working with the county already on website maintenance.
And what this will do is allow us to work on the same document, just pass it from department to department. If there are documents to upload, we can get those uploaded with no cost, extra cost to us. So we'll be working on looking at the same document as well. So we'll take our paper process and make it a electronic process and get rid of some of these redundancies. So I think it's a good thing. I know you think it's a good thing, so. So it's something that I've been wanting to get paperless for a long time, and we're starting to see some light as far as concerning that. So it'll be good for the county to do this. Problem is, it wasn't budgeted for my department, and the initial cost was $25,000 for it, and the annual service would be $15,500 for a total cost. The one-time cost it was $40,000, then $15,000 thereafter per year.
So if we were to pay the upfront, the 40, your office would be
I
able
could
to
put that into our budget.
add it into your budget.
And the planning department's still bringing in more money than what they're
Than what it's
got going
costing.
out, right?
Planning alone, we're working within our appropriations, but we're not a money-making department, especially since the industrial permits have tapered off. But we are still doing a fair amount of permit review. So I would say we're not bringing in more money than we're spending as far as receipts versus expenses, but we are working within our budget.
We should be.
We have increased our fees, so
Yes.
hopefully that does help.
We should be able to afford that easily.
I think so. I think it makes sense.
And it should be a cash cow.
It will be.
contractual, with a $15,000 annual, cost thereafter.
Second.
Right, to be paid for by IT,
To
or
be paid for by IT.
IT.
Yep.
Okay, sure.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we
Here you go.
approve the purchase of the planning module from Civic Plus in an amount not to exceed $40,000.
Page back. Right there.
To not to exceed $40,000. To be paid for out of commissioner's contractual and an annual maintenance of software maintenance of what, $15,500 to be paid for out of the IT budget. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you. And then Bernie, if you
Bernie?
want to stick around and speak on the repeater.
Civics Plus has a lot of really good stuff that
They got
we
a
could
lot of
integrate.
stuff. There's a lot of stuff that we could tap into. Repeater. Okay. Okay. Well, I finally got all the figures back for the cellular repeater project for the 3 buildings that need it. I think you have it in your packet. We have, I have it broken down into three different buildings. We've got the community corrections, jail administration, and the jail, and the prosecutor's office. And the equipment cost for just going down for community corrections is $47,112 with $2,700 for $2,070 for cable installation. The biggest one was the jail. There's a lot more devices there, and they put some travel dispenses they put into that as well for the jail. It's gonna be for about a week to get this done once they get the cable in. There's $113,270, $3,900 to put the cable in itself. And for the prosecutor's office, it was the smallest. It was $37,863 with $2,070 to put the cable in. And what this does, it gives us all 3 cell companies signal inside the building: Verizon, T-Mobile, and AT&T. So, and as Brad can attest, it's terrible in the jail. You can't even communicate once you get inside that jail. So, definitely need it there really bad, and prosecutor as well. So, I don't have this budgeted in anywhere, but I don't know if we want to do a phase project, but that's the total cost for the whole project, so $198,000. So
It is money we have in the 2023 GO bond.
We'll do them all 3 separate.
I think we can do them all.
What was the total on all 3 of them?
it was
Equipment?
$198,236.90.
Can we combine all those into one? They are 3 separate, but they all affect the same. There's
In the
community
2020.
corrections, jail, and prosecutor.
I'm looking at,
Can we use?
the 2023 does provide for equipment for the prosecutor's office and the sheriff's department.
For the sheriff's department too?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so it should
But what about the 47 for the community corrections?
check. Remodeling of existing county buildings, equipment.
Okay,
Okay.
Yeah.
done.
Other expenditure.
198,236.90.
Yes, sir.
Yep.
Make a motion that we approve the repeater project in the amount of $198,236.90, to be paid for out of the 2023 GO bond as presented.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We approve the county cell repeater project as presented, and a cost not to exceed $198,236.90 to be paid for out of the 2023 GO bond as presented. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Make a motion that we approve the invoice from Nelson Alarm for the cabling for the same project in the amount not to exceed $8,050 to be paid for out of the 2023 GO bond.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We approve the quote from Nelson Alarm for cell repeater in an amount not to exceed $8,050 to be paid for out of 2023 GO bond.
That cost for that it was part of this total cost too.
Oh, is
I
it?
had
Oh,
that in
this
there.
is?
Oh, well then-
Okay, we'll
Okay.
strike that.
I didn't know we had anything in there.
I didn't either.
I
All
had
right.
it broken out, the cabling was broken out
Okay.
separate, then I just combined it.
All right. Sorry about that.
Okay. Did you have a quote for the sound upgrade for this room? That, you didn't get that? Sarah, did I send you that?
Who was it from, Bernie?
It was from me. It was from Force Technology. We can discuss that later if you want. We don't do that right now. I don't have that book.
I think it's in the back of the, yeah, it's on the back of the cell repeater quote, so it's in the back of this.
Okay.
Paperclip one.
Okay.
We can always talk about it later. We've been trying to get that
Okay.
done for a long time.
Yeah.
Well,
Force Tech,
What's
yeah.
the-
it took time, yeah. What we're proposing to do is put some speakers up there. You heard those, there were jacks where where the cables are. We're gonna put some small speakers for reinforcing the sound so you can hear what's going on out here a lot better. We're gonna put some microphone array up there so you can pick up stuff out here. And either you or someone you decide will be able to control it, turn it on and off if you need to, that type of thing. Upgrade the mic has rebalance the whole room and just make it a lot better. So,
Sounds amazing.
Does that,
Sounds amazing.
will that help anybody who's hearing impaired out in the audience
well, you
as
know, we
well?
have hearing impaired stations right up here, but nobody ever uses them.
Okay.
Gary used something,
And we have the equipment.
One meeting.
We have equipment
It was on
in
his
the back.
laptop though.
oh, okay.
We have equipment in the back that they can hook up to as well, so. We have, there's 8 of them available, if anybody ever needs them. So
We got 7 months to get this done.
we'll get done in 3. So, so but that cost, it was $42,043. Again, I mean, it's not budgeted, but it definitely would help reinforce the sound here to be a lot better, so.
I think we should do it. I just don't know what fund to pay it out of right now.
Well, I have $5,000.
On the 2023 bond, you guys had identified 250, I think, for vehicles, but since it's lease, we were talking at the council meeting that we probably wouldn't be able to do leases out of the 2023 bond. So I think you still have some more room in that bond if you wanted to.
It should be room.
I think then we just go ahead and do it out of the 2023 GO bond if you guys are okay with it.
It says we can, so.
All right.
Okay, good deal, I'll get on it.
Jim will be happy.
Need a motion on that, don't we?
I don't know if we've got do we have the paperwork for it?
Right here.
Oh, yeah, you have to sign off on it, yeah.
I'll get those to you.
Okay, all right.
Bernie, I need you to ask them something for me.
What do you want?
We'll make a motion, Make a motion that we approve the quote from Force Tech for the sound upgrades to the annex court. The amount of $42,043.97 to be paid for out of the 2023 GO bond.
Second?
It's been properly moved and seconded. We accept the quote from Force Tech to upgrade the
Sound system.
audio sound system in the annex courtroom building in an amount not to exceed $42,043.97 to be paid for out of the 2023 GO bond. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Thank you, gentlemen, appreciate it.
And is that
Take
it?
care of you.
That's all of it now?
That's all of it.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Will the internet work?
Internet?
No.
It works.
But you'll be able to hear everything.
You'll be able to hear
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, go right ahead. Take a break here.
Okay. You're the only signature?
There wasn't even a signature line
Oh.
on there, so I just put my name on it. Did Corey have anything?
He
for
didn't
you?
have anything.
Okay.
He's done.
I guess, is there a way to contact these other folks then, to maybe get them?
Unless she has their contact information with them, I don't know, let's see who's on here.
I've got it, I texted you, I've got it on another half hour.
I know.
That's good. It looks like we got three.
So let me ask you this, though.
I'll
If
have her reach out when she gets back from home break.
there are really
Okay.
two things that are gonna be kinda contested here. So do we recommend that they wait for your legal guidance potentially, on the side? Because here's what's coming here with this. It was a petition that had no recommendation. So what's happened too is that when a no recommendation, and they didn't attach commitments to it either. It's not as if,
They're working on something.
but if you didn't reject it and you accepted it, it wouldn't have the commitments needed that came with everything else. So I don't know if we say, hey, you need to wait just 2 more weeks to come back before we get our legal counsel here, so we can just
I think that's fair.
have you
guys
present.
have more time.
And which one is that? The
That's
parking?
Outback's-
Oh, Outback Store.
Outback
That's
Storage.
John, yeah, John.
and then the parking is another one that's just coming back, that has been continued a couple times.
Because we didn't have.
the whole board, the body of people here, and it was the one where we had approved, a parking lot for one group that was going to permit the parking of all the same, their company trucks there. Now this group has come back with multiples, and they just want to allow anybody else to park here. The recommendation from the planning is a no, but their last recourse for resolution is go back to the BCA and get that presented.
So you could follow, just take the planning commission's recommendation.
Mhm.
and not go.
Yep, we really don't want the BZA to approve it either.
Right.
I don't know what choice you have.
Well, a good point in Warrington about church.
What's
Put
that?
a little parking lot in, gravel parking lot, which the neighbor said that now all the water's running off onto their property, and I went and looked at it. If it is, it has always been
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
but I mean, you can put dirt on your property and move it around without,
Yeah,
doesn't really get into a planning issue.
yeah. So we can take that one. I'll have, if it's okay with you guys, the John Smith property to come back in 2 weeks when all of us will be here. I mean, we've worked trying to get everybody here, so if you have to go, you have to go, and,
I think that's all right now.
okay.
Yeah,
I mean, to hold off on another 2 weeks on that project's not gonna hurt it, because again, their remedies to go back to the BZA at the end of the month and do the same,
And they were
do
going
the
to
same thing.
go there at the end of the month. They,
Yeah.
after we either approved or
So
turned them down,
there's no
they were,
prejudice to that.
Right,
so.
right.
Cause they could still do that with BZA.
Sarah, would you contact
John Smith.
John Smith and Kim Medlin and just tell them we
Better.
need to continue
That's right.
theirs until our next meeting? We'll make a spot on there, because our legal counsel is gonna be missing for the day, their time frame.
Because I didn't have to have that again. And on the 90 days, I did that.
So now you can start in again.
That's what I said.
Now, what about the memorial building?
Or, hang on a second, so when is the BZA meeting, Gary, for them to go to?
I wanna say it's, hang on,
Is it like the 30th of May,
It's gotta be before.
or the 23rd?
be the 23rd.
Okay. All right.
See here, April is.
Memorial building thing's kinda hard, 'cause
Yeah, the 25th was the last one, so, and that would be the 4th Thursday of the month, that, of the 23rd.
Okay, I just didn't wanna push them off beyond where they could just go to the BZA, they still have to come back here. Okay.
slippery slope of setting aside a public building for a family for an indefinite amount of.
That's the thing, because once that word gets out,
Everybody wants it on Tuesday night.
for every Tuesday for the 52 weeks a year, you know, is that, do we get into that?
That'd be different if there was, if we ever charged for the use of the building, which we never do. If it was $25 and sure you want it every Tuesday night, you're gonna
Right.
pay for it regardless.
Right, or we have one of these parks people that were actually managing that
Yeah.
thing of people in and out.
So how did, we've never done this, or what? I mean, cause I know we had the daddy-daughter dances there.
We've had like soccer groups that come in and have a soccer season, and they ask us if we'll give them key card access for, a set period of time on set days,
And we've got the basketball,
right, different things like
Yeah.
that. But we've never had a family come in and say that we want you to.
So they're
set
clear in
aside
there
They're
to
clear.
come on the
County building.
21st, okay.
Which,
Okay.
the 21st is that cutoff at 10 a.m., because I will not be here
Okay,
in the conference.
that's okay, well, that's the last thing we'll take care of on that.
Didn't somebody from Greenfield used to help, like, oversee the memorial
Probably
building
Ellen.
Well, their
before we
parks,
brought it
somebody
back?
from their parks department used to manage.
I'd almost
there.
bet that, cause that was under Ellen.
And I'm wondering, could you guys do something like that? Just say,
We could if we
at
had
this
a,
point, how it is how it is until we get our parks department established, and then we'll.
I think that's probably the way we should go, because like John said, we're gonna open it up and then all of a sudden that word is gonna spread.
And it's
people
gonna,
are-
you're gonna have everybody
And
there.
then we've created a problem.
Well, then she also asked me, Tammy, the one that's coming in about the reservation today, she said, well, I'll just call you and you can just let me know whether it's open or not, and then we can come in that night. I'm like, that would be a hassle, just in general.
Plus, we have the same security issues there we've always had, our people locking the door, whenever they leave.
You could have Sarah do it.
Yeah,
She could do it.
Sarah's like, I'm not scheduled at the memorial
on
building.
the north side.
Seriously,
She
Deb.
didn't- she didn't do
I
nothing.
mean,
She's
she
not
got there
doing
in a
anything.
security jacket and-
Yeah.
She doesn't do
Big orange
anything at
jacket.
all.
Yeah.
Just add it to her list of stuff.
Well, if you wanna pay me to do it.
Wait a second now, I need
Wait a
you,
second,
we
yeah.
need you over here, not over there.
So,
It's just.
John Smith is out,
No.
and what about the,
John Cross isn't scheduled till 10:45.
And if there's a way to call them and move them up, please get a hold of them. And then the Debbie Pfeiffer from the Riley Festival and Tammy Brown are the only there's a way to make contact with them to get them to come early.
Can you give me, give me his number, I'll call him. You just want him in here earlier, you don't need to move anybody off, right? Okay, 317?
250
Uh-huh.
6581.
6581, okay, I'll call him.
Petitioners coming in though, so I don't know if they'll all be able to make it here at the same time. And I will come over that anyway.
Cul-de-sac. There it is.
So how you feel about tomorrow?
I don't know. We'll see.
It's gonna be interesting on a lot of fronts.
And I figure if I can't win that race, be like that.
Hasta la vista.
Yep.
That state rep race is gonna be kind of interesting.
Yeah, it will be interesting. I want to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Let's see if
Pence
trying to make a
too.
career off of destroying my family name pays off or not. See how that goes.
Yeah, I don't think that is gonna fly too well. It's hard to know, right? Gotta get a good, it should be a pretty good turnout.
I don't know. There's supposed to be some really bad storms. We might get a lot of people who don't show up. Of course, probably everybody's already voted. We don't have election day anymore.
Yeah.
We have elections.
Absentee ballots.
We have election quarter.
You know, I'm so worried about this election. I mean, it just scares me to death, 'cause if I can get back in here. If I can get back in here. So,
We're coming in early, or, yes, I don't know if you guys. I know.
Hello. So what's going on with you, Sheriff? I saw you the other day. Yeah. You was on New Road. You were going west and I was going east. So, it was up by Walmart. I just happened to see you. And I do notice a lot of people in cars that for some reason I always look at them.
Oh my gosh, and these are almost too comfortable, almost all, they look like pajamas. Very comfy.
Yeah, that's true.
Haircut.
Did you hear him?
I can only imagine. It's not the first time I've heard it. Yeah. Yep, every 3 weeks. I'm ready for November to be over. I just, this whole deal, our country's gone to heck in a handbasket. I thought we made that motion.
We did, but she crafted it.
Oh.
We didn't make the motion for people that she had already had.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You already do the title motion?
No, we didn't do anything yet. We did it.
No, I didn't even, I was like, who, cause I don't have anything for this, I was like, who asked to be on here, cause I don't know what you're.
Let's see. Let me,
And council's financed the position.
Yeah. Sorry, Bill. Talking to my buddy.
No, I had to go to John Cross.
so I just sent one to the printer too.
Okay. The same thing, or the?
Probably.
I did 5 copies.
No. We could maybe put them on a, like a flash drive,
I have them on the flash drive.
so I would say we need to ask Scott if that's okay. And then he has to pay for that.
Yes.
Mhm.
I asked, I said, would you be interested in
At,
paper?
at this point in time, if we spend more time on it, he's gonna have to start paying part of your hourly rate.
Yes.
Okay, so that public records request.
Yeah, boy, yeah.
Yes, so we, I tried to send them the electronic bids that we got, but they're not going through because of our email capacity.
Yeah, right.
So I said, are you interested in a paper file? He sent me a share folder invite, that said that we're not doing a share folder. So, would you be okay with doing it on like another thumb drive?
Oh, yeah.
Would you be okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's Crystal's.
And then,
I talked to him, I knew it.
This is part of what we need the motion for, she'll request those, and that's what was approved at our test.
yeah. Would you be okay with that?
But that's what they need to be
Fine.
approved, it's what
Okay,
council
perfect.
approved at the meeting the other night for
Send it over.
salaries. So then So they ought to be able to go ahead and create their position since we created the health department under it, that we've technically let them do.
I'm just saying, you know, what's not on the health department operates, they're thing, they don't, they're not.
Oh, no.
How's that the case? We created them, we have to create positions.
Right.
We are grant, they are.
Right. Right, right. Yes. Yes.
Have you,
Now, Ms. Baker, if you want to come
okay,
up,
one minute.
do you need to come up with her, Kelly, or, okay? All right.
All right. Okay, so we are circling back, just trying to complete this with the two new nursing positions. So I guess we need you guys to vote to create those positions, which is a public health nurse, maternal child health, and a public health nurse that will focus on chronic disease. And so the council has voted to fund those positions out of the Health First Indiana Fund. And so we just need you guys to officially go on record to create those positions, I guess.
And that's got a match to it from the state, don't it?
That's out of that new fund.
Yeah.
And so they will be funded totally out of that, Fund 1161.
I think the motion the other night was to fund those because the money was coming from the state, but then we don't know how long that's going to be.
Right.
Right, and they had to be.
With that,
And
with
they
that
had to be
new,
noticed. That's
yes.
what it was.
uh-huh. So it's the same as those other two positions. Yep.
Okay. Anybody wish to make the motion, or?
I'll make a motion to add one public health nurse, maternal child health, and one public health nurse for chronic disease to the health department, effective March 6th, 2024.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we add one public health nurse, maternal child health, and one public health nurse, chronic disease to the health department, effective March 6, 2024. Any discussion? All those,
Do we need to add in there that this is possibly a,
with notice to those nurses
Yes.
that
it could end?
this position could be, it could end with funding from the state ending.
State giveth, state taketh away.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
All right, thank you. And then also, there has been discussion about changing my job title from office manager to director, and then moving my status from non-exempt to exempt, just to reflect more of the current job duties that I have now. So,
I'll make a motion that we change our esteemed colleague Crystal Baker's title from office manager to health department director, and change her FLS status from non-exempt to exempt effective May 12, 2024.
Second.
Any discussion? It's been moved and seconded. We change Crystal Baker's title from office manager to health department director, and her FLSA status from non-exempt to exempt effective May 12th of 2024. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes.
thank you.
Thank you.
I said esteemed colleague.
Esteemed colleague.
You left that out.
Is she a colleague or employee because she works for us? She's
I don't know,
employee.
dude, she worked for me.
Some days I ask that same question.
I did not, I left a voicemail for John Cross, but I did not reach him.
Okay,
I left a voicemail for Tammy and Debbie.
okay.
Well, I'll make a motion that we allow the use of the annex during the Riley Festival. But that we allow.
Like
We always do. Yeah.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded. We allow use of the annex during Riley Festival, as we always do. Any discussion?
Do we need to talk to Lisa to make sure she's not using this, or, I don't know, it's up to you guys.
Lisa Lofgreen? Well,
For the
she
general election?
she probably wouldn't use it during the general, cause that's in November, right? And this is for the Riley Festival in October.
Early voting kinda got us in a little bit of a pickle.
Well, but, I mean, they're using over there this time. so-
Are they?
They
Yeah,
only
they're
use
over
the
at the
courthouse,
courthouse.
and they've only used this for the actual general election,
Yeah.
and not even early voting to the general
Okay, I
election.
And they're using the jail too. this year.
I think the jail did solve some of that problem, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I
no,
didn't mean to
you're-
interrupt, but
No, I was just wondering that
It's a
this
good
morning when I
question.
drove by the jail.
So can I tell Debbie she's stuck in Texas? Early voting for fall of 2024 begins on October 11th.
Yeah, but
But it's not in here.
it's not gonna be in here.
It'll be at the courthouse and the jail.
Debbie is stuck in Texas. That's why she got my, with the reservation.
Oh,
So she said she was gonna try to send somebody to her place. Is it okay if I just
just
tell her?
tell her
not
we'll.
to worry
It's
about
already
it?
done.
It's already, yeah. Yeah. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
Everybody's good.
Yeah,
Oh,
Thanks.
Thanks, sir.
Good luck. I know you're not doing it. That's good.
Nope, I like it.
yes. I'll tell you what, that was a godsend with my mom's illness and everything, so.
Makes me sick.
That would me too, I'm serious. But the better part is hearing what you
All
told
right,
me there
thank
in
you.
the beginning, that's awesome, that's great.
You're like, this is like a formal leaving thing, are you okay?
Oh, yeah. I'm not gonna leave. There's been no funeral.
I'm like, what are you doing? He's making his goodbye so formal.
Yeah, like he's never coming back.
I was like, what's going on?
Miss Kayla, did you need something?
Oh, no, just, figured I'd try to set up my computer while,
Oh, okay.
are we just waiting on?
Did you have any luck with the crosses, or did you even try to contact them? We've tried to contact them and they haven't responded yet.
Reach out to John Cross again, yeah. Let me see if I can get, just to get here just earlier. Okay, so we are still.
From Highway.
Oh,
Alright, I will see what I can do. Okay, and I'm gonna call on, Brandon if he's in there because, we were having issues, cause there's a new connection up there now, and we were having issues. Gary Poole was having issues trying to get it to work. Did Gary? He was messing with stuff down in there, I don't know what he was doing.
Did you read the instructions?
We got the TV on, the TVs are on,
Okay.
but there's a new, he was having trouble actually getting his laptop to pull up.
Okay. Well, that worries me a little bit.
This is new.
Oh, yeah, that is new. I had no idea.
So you want me to have?
we had Bernie down here too earlier, we didn't think to ask him.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll try to get John Cross.
Okay, and I'll get Brandon.
You might just have to listen off my laptop.
And they have everything in their packet from what he sent, so, okay, perfect.
Has there been any of those protests in Indianapolis?
Have I?
Have they been going on?
There has been nothing in like IUPUI. There hasn't been one down at the State House. The only one I'm aware of going on is the one at IU. There was
Yeah,
one.
they shut them down, I think.
Yeah, the one at Purdue kind of started, but it got shut down pretty quickly.
Purdue don't mess with
They don't. They don't.
And they shouldn't.
So this is new.
That's what the,
I mean,
what
they-
college it was, I heard last night was the president of one said, you're not children, you're adults. We told you what was gonna happen, and you made your adult decision, continue on to pay the consequences.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just our website.
I don't know,
And
my Gary.
there's no amnesty from those things either. Once they're committed, you're.
I can't Well, that's what gets me looking at LGBTQ for Hamas. Go there.
Yeah.
I dare you. Go there for 5 minutes. Go stand with them there.
Yeah, and they wouldn't be standing.
Before they hang you upside down and drop you on your head off the
Yeah.
building. That's their MO.
Or burn you at the stake.
Gosh.
It weren't very bright.
No. It's sad, and they become softer. I mean, you don't negotiate for one with people who are on the bad side. Even if they have hostages, you just have to let that go.
Yeah.
Even if they're
It's
bad,
done.
you just have
I
to
think the
let that-
hostages are dead
you
anyway,
have to
so.
let that go.
Well, they don't talk enough about how is it that everybody has the same tent? Everybody has all the same
Mhm.
stuff. It's all funded. I mean, there are people that are showing up with van loads full of tents and, you know, it's not something that's just coming up out of
Oh, yeah.
grassroots.
Yeah.
It's being funded.
Yeah, well, they've identified, it's funny, some of these groups have enough money to pay professional organizer, cash to do things. Just be like us, can we get a proposal for a professional organizer to come and help us?
Who take over this building and all this,
Yeah,
and then the, food that they're demanding, the gluten-free to
oh, yeah,
pizza.
yeah. No, and that's another thing they should have done almost immediately. Cut off the water, cut off the power, cut off internet access.
Turn on the sprinkler.
24/7.
That's what they do if the news didn't get right.
Yeah, yeah,
Enjoy your camping trip.
right,
right?
right.
I spent a week in a camp one year and it hardly ever stopped raining. And it was miserable.
Yeah, we had a family, we always go family reunion camping, and we had one year we stayed at campground up here on 300. And it was the last year that I was in a tent, and the site was real low, and it rained.
Oh.
We woke up at about 4 inches of water on our whole bottom of our tent. I was on a 4-inch air mattress and was still wet. Oh my God. Have a camper now.
Yeah, yeah.
And I've been thinking about getting one. I love camping, but my grandkids go camping, but my wife won't camp, so.
It's such a
But she did
hassle.
come, she cracked a little bit. She said, if we're gonna go camping, then we go somewhere where there's other things to do besides just sit around the campground.
Yeah. Well, the other thing you can get to is Good Sam Club makes a directory of campsites, and they rate them from 1 star to 5 stars. So you can find those places you want to go to, because we've been to the worst of toilets and showers to the best. And one of the things the kids always cried about was we just had pop-up. Is that at least if you buy another one, buy something where we can do that inside, or let's go to a place that has good showers and
And
toilets.
actually, down in Arkansas, they've got all kinds of lakes in Arkansas. I mean, and they're all perfect. And their showers and everything were very acceptable. And actually, I don't know what they are now out at Lieber, but we always loved staying at Lieber. Because you go to the lake and go swimming. Well, now they've got gigantic swimming pool. You can still fish and all that. And I mean, it's all clean. So I just don't know what their bath status is now. But it was still just a block building. So, but yeah, I love camping.
Yeah, we could have been out here an hour ago.
I thought we were on target to almost get out of here super quick.
I was hurrying up to get here because it's like drainage board's gonna end soon. I'm
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Those first Mondays, I usually, I
Do you
don't.
need anything?
I'm not as grumpy.
You do? Come on down.
Wait a minute, he's not on the schedule. Oh.
Public comment.
Oh, we're doing a lot up here.
That's what seems like you're always doing back there. That's what it seems like you're always doing.
Yeah, that's where I get all my work done. I got some sort of cold too. Last week, I went to council and requested a third jail navigator. And they asked if I asked the commissioners, which I hadn't. And this was gonna be for 2025 on next year's budget, but I talked to Crystal Baker and Dr. Sharp, and they have agreed through the Healthy Indiana Plan, or whatever that's called, to fund whatever, whenever the council decides to do whatever they're gonna do for the rest of this year, just because they have the money to do it. Now, my agreement with the health department is just to fund the rest of this year. Council seems to be kinda inclining to, what about the money for next year? Can they do it? Now, that's up to them and trying to negotiate that piece. I just wanted to get it started early. But I didn't wanna do it until they decided how they were gonna fund it in the future. And so, but apparently I need to ask permission to get that third navigator spot before they'll move on it at all.
Now, have you hired all the deputies that they've allotted you?
I've hired all the deputies except for the one that I did at the beginning of this year through RDC. They gave me one through the TIF money, and I haven't got that one done yet. My list has ran out, and I gotta start a new process.
Okay.
So,
I know you'd been given,
yeah, I got so 2021, they gave me 9, and then, so all those are hired.
okay.
Now, I got the last one of that. No, actually, that one, he replaced somebody that left. So they're all out of the academy, and
Good.
they're
good.
working. So I got one more in the academy right now.
Good, okay. Now, what happens if it is not funded?
Well, that's what I just need to get the position, if you would agree upon that. They said they would fund it for the rest of the year, but I'm waiting on council to decide, obviously,
How it's gonna happen afterwards?
what they're gonna do with that. So, if council says, hey, you can't have a third navigator, which I'm under the impression they're all good with it, I wouldn't do it until they decided how they were gonna fund it in the future.
I don't have a problem with it.
But they're not asking us to create it so that you can fund it and get it started and then blame us for starting one that wasn't funded, right?
No, I don't think so, because I told them the other day, I said, listen, I said, I'm not gonna do this if you guys decide at budget time that you're not gonna give me the third navigator. I mean, that'd be silly to try to hire somebody in 6 months and then,
They're gone.
yeah, they're gone. So it's kind of contingent on whether or not they'll do that. I have the feeling they're gonna do it somehow, but they were kind of leaning towards, and that's what I just told Crystal, that to see if the health department would fund that again for at least a year, because they know they have 1.5 million to deal with next year. So I said my negotiation with them was this year, just to get it going, because they're running their tails off inside there doing what they're doing, so.
So you just need a positive recommendation from us that says, hey, we're for you.
Yes, and then I
For
can
the
work out the
council.
details.
Funding and third
Yeah.
jail navigator.
And so I'm guessing this is not gonna happen until our budget time period, when we have our hearings in July.
Yeah.
And whether they make a decision on what they're gonna do with that funding piece.
Yeah.
And whether or not somebody on the council has some sort of negotiation piece with them on trying to fund that. But I just told her, I said, listen, that's not part of my deal with you guys. I just wanted to get it started now, because I knew you had some money to be able to utilize that, but
Right.
that's, so.
Okay.
I'll make a motion that we recommend to council the creation of a third jail navigator position, starting immediately, and being funded permanently in 2025.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we positively recommend the creation of a jail navigator spot to the county council that would begin immediately and to be funded, permanently in 2025. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
Thank you, appreciate it.
You're welcome.
All right, I won't have to get on the next agenda.
You can't, we've cut it off.
How's the early voting working out there?
It's been slow. I think it's just, people don't know it's there yet. I know I haven't really got the numbers, but I know the first day I got the numbers, there was only 10.
But it hasn't been a logistical problem.
No, the logistics is fine. I mean, they like it. I mean, the people, the poll workers and everybody, or the workers that are out there, I mean, they think it's great because there's easy parking, easy access. I mean, they come in that side door, they go out that side door. So to that part hasn't been a problem. People just don't know it's really there. Because I heard there's been lines like at the library and there's just nobody out there.
I use the early voting up at the Hancock Gateway.
So. Okay.
Same thing, it's in the aged assisted living area there on the
Uh-huh.
3rd floor. No line, no nothing, get in, get out,
Yeah.
super nice spot to have it.
Yeah, and I got good security there. I mean, I got cameras and everything, so I mean, it's a pretty secure location. So I mean, it really worked out well. And I know she was going to reevaluate. Lisa was for next year or whatever the next voting is. But according to the election rules, if you have a site for the primary, you have to have the same site for the general election. So it's at least got to be out there for this
Right.
this general election. But
Right.
she may reevaluate it next year, depending on.
I would think everybody from the east side of the county would hit that. Well, they've got Brown's Chapel, don't they?
I think
Is it
Brown's.
open
I think
also?
Brown's just is Brown's still.
It was last year, but I don't know if it is this year.
I don't think it
was
is
this
either.
year.
I mean,
I don't think they've
I don't-
usually covered the last couple of times.
so I mean, that's the only one.
Wilkinson.
You got something in Wilkinson?
Wilkinson's
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
you have to have something there.
Yeah. So
She did say voting's been light this year. The,
altogether,
primary turnout everywhere has been pretty
Yeah.
light.
if it decides it's going to storm tomorrow too, who knows what'll happen with that.
Yeah.
So I told them tomorrow if it's raining, they can, use the main lobby as to get them out of the weather, and then that way they can
Yeah.
come in one door and then out the next door, so they're not bottlenecked.
Yeah.
And they're all standing there and get wet, but
Sounds like it's gonna be good. It's gonna be raining tomorrow.
that's what I hear.
Yeah,
Yeah, Mark Twain said that's what makes a difference on who comes to your funeral or not, the weather.
The weather.
If it's raining or not, so we could see probably a real
Yeah.
lowering in the turnout if there's good rain throughout the whole day.
Yeah, it's always amazing. I mean, I don't understand it, but there are certain people who just want to do it on election day. It's like, you've had a
I've
couple.
not voted yet.
Yeah, you got 2 weeks, there's nobody standing in
Well,
line.
the thing is, there's so many places to vote anyway,
Yeah,
so it just,
Oh, cool.
but I remember when I've seen lines.
oh, that's the way, the school, or the library was
Yeah.
one year. It was, I mean, almost wrapped around the building.
That's crazy, it's crazy.
So, I might stop by today. Well, I don't know, I gotta go get my hair cut, so.
That's
You're making me look bad there.
Hancock County registered her in
Yeah.
Henry County.
Mhm.
Sort of split down the middle.
Oh,
It'll be the first time my mom gets to vote for me.
in
so we'll take
Hancock
her.
County. Amazing.
If I lose, I'm gonna blame her.
No, you can't blame mom. You can't blame mom.
You can't do anything. My mom hit my bike and knocked it over. Didn't say a word. It's okay, Mom. It's all right. Thanks, Sheriff.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's left?
Well, it's the planning folks that we have, with the truck parking lots and the lady from the memorial building. Is there anything that says we can't close up shop while we have agenda items on the agenda? And just say,
Not if we don't feel like they're coming. We
Well.
can sit here all day waiting.
I'm not going to.
At this point in time, I mean, they know they're on the,
Mm-hmm. Kayla, did you get any response at all back from them?
Yes, John Cross called, and he's not sure if he's calling the clients to see how quickly they can get here and if they'll
Okay, what kind of time frame did he give that maybe he would let you know back?
he wasn't sure if he'd be able to make it any earlier than I said at the time.
Okay, because we may just, if they're not able to make it at that.
but they didn't have a scheduled
Okay.
time. It's just open.
I think their estimated time was 10:30, 10:45.
Mhm.
We let them know to arrive early.
Yeah. Hmm. Well,
already scheduled.
Yes, that's a completely separate issue from today. So, they continued last week. I think, hoping to have some resolution with the commitments. So, just so you know, this month, ETA for the tractor trailer puppy, regardless of those commitments, is the first full month on the agenda.
So, now the busy,
On your guys' department budgets and CCD, you had set the precedent, I think, that you'll review it, and then if you wanted to talk to them, you'd let them know. But there's not like an actual date to review it, like years ago you did. So you just said, hey, we're gonna look at these, if we have a question, we'll call you in. So, I don't know if you wanna talk to Bill about that.
Okay.
And you guys decide, cause we don't have anything scheduled for you, I just checked.
Okay. Yeah, I'll talk to him about it.
Because I think it went really quick for you guys. And I
It's a
think,
lot quicker.
I think your thought was, Kelsey's gonna, you know,
All right, yeah.
Lenny.
Yep. Looks like an attorney.
Thank you.
No problem, clients are on the way, so let us know.
Oh, where's George at today?
He had rotator cuff surgery, so he's still healing from,
Mm-hmm.
he's still healing from that.
That's not even fun.
Yeah. Mr. Cross, are you ready?
My clients are still not here yet, given the bump up in time, so
Okay.
I informed them they're on their way.
Okay. And we still haven't heard back from Tammy Brown yet?
She said she is going to try her best to get here as soon as possible.
Okay.
I'm just gonna start telling people to come here at 8.
Just show up.
Yep.
You never know.
The 8, we never know when it's gonna be early.
Car.
You're all good. You're all, they voted okay to you.
Sorry, I know she got stuck in Texas and then, I'm sorry, she said she got stuck in Texas and she was trying to send you, but she couldn't get hold of you, so I'm so sorry. Want me to do anything? We good?
It's
Good to
done.
go? So we get in on Tuesday the 1st? Does that sound correct?
And it starts.
Yeah, Festival is our first full weekend. Starts Thursday.
Okay, I think Tuesday the 1st is gonna have to be after commissioners meeting.
Typically after a meeting that is in here.
Yeah,
Just give me a time and I'll
Man.
try to keep
starting to figure that out kind of on the back end with some of these permitting things too. And DLZ will be at our next meeting to share the information on how we're gonna get that accomplished. Everything's rolling well there. Maybe not the way we wanted it because of the floodplain issue, but I think we'll make a chunk in getting it done and using up those bonds. Yeah. And that was another issue, finding, some way that people would just listen here and another party was out of the spot. And Gary was another godsend there because he went and helped to massage, that. But yeah, I think on the CCD budgets, the only people that needed any more was Jacanis. 911 wanted to increase a certain title to a certain for a certain position to get more support, and that was really it. Nobody else had any additional requests.
Well, we'll find out tomorrow, but if tomorrow goes well, we'll work really closely after the end of this year. My plan, if I get 4 years on the council, is Jim will be leaving in 2 years. So, I guess I'll kind of slide into his role on the budget. Try to keep us in good standing the way he has for 20 years. Hope I get to have him into his stuff for family.
So do you guys get this?
Do want to figure if I can't win that race. After 14 years of serving the family. Go.
Well, if you do, we still use Greg. He's the voice of reason between ultra conservative and conservative. I don't mind him keeping us super safe, but every year we've really been super safe and
He won't quit.
had a surplus. And I think there are other things we can spend that on.
I don't think he'll like me being back there. If I'm lucky enough to get there.
Gentlemen,
Mhm.
the Memorial Building is Tammy Brown, do you want us to call her off? 'Cause at this point, she's planning on coming still, but
Just tell her,
you wanna work on that policy a little bit more?
she's probably what?
Tell her to call,
Yeah, I mean,
tell her to call Bill at home.
she's already called me once.
I know she did.
Yeah, we're already waiting on these, Mr. Cross's clients to get here, so
So just wait
just
for her to
wait,
get here, okay.
yeah.
Yeah, you don't wanna go super liberal on the finances, but after, we can only sock so much money away.
Yeah, and after watching it for 4 years and knowing where that, that kind of cushion is, you can still spend and stay within what his saving is and do things.
It's kinda like Christmas bonus, if you're used to getting a Christmas bonus every year. Yeah, you don't count on it, but if history tells you that every year you get $1,000 Christmas bonus, you figure you deal with it if you don't. That's kind of the way that supplemental is every year. Oh,
Be like Chevy Chase in Christmas Vacation, we'll have to go get the boss man.
Oh, we got an extra $1.5 million this year, who knows?
Yeah.
Didn't see that coming. It's happened 2 or 3 times, and then they send you an email like 150 times.
Uh-huh.
And so, I'll have one county email, 140 of these, and then one county email, and then 140
Oh,
of these.
wow.
Takes an hour to go through and find it.
I would be like, you must be pretty bored because I'm doing this, or this, you know. If you saw what I'm doing, if you saw what I'm doing, I'm
You
doing my laundry,
You
you know,
recorded me, good job.
crap at home.
Well, it implies that you were doing something.
Yes.
Sure.
Yeah. Although
I
I will
guess if
say,
you read that, you probably have fun.
I will say this, my friend's dad, before he died, he said he was really wise guy. And, at age 75, he said, Bill, he said the lever switched in his head where he would get those emails and respond to them. He goes, in a million years, he'd never get them, and all of a sudden, it's like a big deal, just like you responding to, you know, your friend went to Nairobi and they're trapped over there in Sydney, you know that. He's like, I don't know what made him do it, but he just felt like he had to do those things because we had to take away all of his stuff so he wouldn't send any of those things out.
Man, I almost sent you $500 back for once.
It reminds me of the one I did get from you a long time ago. It was a text.
Yeah, we need to talk or something. Yeah, I
And
got
you're
the
like,
same thing from you one time.
This doesn't sound like the way he would say it at all, so
Me
I'm
and
not
you
gonna
need to meet
respond.
up and have a conversation.
Yeah. And then the way they've got it all played out for us out in the state is if you answer one of those and it's the state put it out to kind of trick you,
Yeah.
then you've gotta take more training to be able to get off of that. So you really watch what you're opening up and looking at anymore.
Yes. Dozens and dozens and dozens of them this morning.
Holy moly. No, I have never gotten any of those. I'll probably go get them here soon after you said
It just
that.
goes on for pages.
I'm bored right now.
Good be back to work.
Yeah.
Mr. Cross, any update on your people?
There's, I think, just one other set of representatives waiting on, see that. I think that they should have just about been here for
Mhm.
all these years. I know traffic's pretty bad, and some of them are from Carmel and 465. I know, you know, it's making things slower, so I'll see if I can find out. And I don't necessarily believe I'll need the front presentation
Sure. Okay.
We have one representative, it's all kind of the same decision, to respond to questions, but hopefully we'll be here by the end of this.
Okay. All right.
I just had a note, yeah, I didn't know if we wanted to repeat or. Yeah, sure. Great.
All right, so we're here today for amendments to rezoning commitments that were made as part of the rezoning petition for 4 different semi-truck parking lot uses. This occurred as far back as 2022. The first rezone was heard in May of 2022. And we have got some clips from the summer of '22 when this body heard those zoning commitments. This is on the agenda for the next Board of Commissioners, Board of Zoning Appeals meeting, BZA, because the semi-truck parking use is a special exception. It has gone there before, and those uses are now expiring, so they are needing those to be heard again. I'm gonna turn it over to John Cross to present the rest of his case. These are different folks than those who were involved for the first time this board heard it, when it was Mr. Pritzky and John McCarty as the petitioner. So, all right, I've got that section pulled up on the computer if you want to listen to it.
I'll go ahead.
All right, thank you.
Thank you and good morning, Attorney John Cross, 13 North State Street, Suite 241, Greenfield, Indiana. Here on behalf of the 4 separate property owners. PSG Realty owns 2748 North 700 West. JBS Transport owns 2710. Swage Logistics owns 2670, and HSG Cargo owns 2642. These are 4 properties that are all right next to each other that were previously rezoned back in 2002 to IL with, we'll see, the understanding was going to be that the properties would be used to provide truck parking that would be either owned or operated or leased by the owners to, for either trucks that they own and operate or to be leased to other property owners. So what happened after it was approved by this commission was that the commitments signed off on missed the very important piece that the cabs, the trucks, trailers could be leased to the other companies. So that means that currently the owners must own all the trucks that park there, whereas that wouldn't be a problem for a large company who owns all those trucks. That's not the case here. They do. The property owners do own some of their own trucks, but always had the intent to lease these out as it was originally presented. So what we're here, we originally filed a request to terminate these commitments, thinking that was appropriate, but after going back and listening to the hearings, we feel a modification is appropriate because that was what was presented, discussed, and agreed to here, approved. So it'd really be a modification just to add the stipulation that any of the trailer trucks could also be leased by the owners to others. So with that, it'll be important to listen to the prior hearing. This was played at the last hearing, but understanding Commissioner Spalding was not here, so it's reset to have all 3 of you here. So we can go ahead and play a few minutes from that prior hearing that was July 2022.
Staff report, you gave the planning commission, you'll see that it's surrounded on all sides by warehouses. It's a perfect location for this type of use. Drivers will come, drop their vehicles off, and then leave. No overnight sleeping in cabs, and there will be gated, fenced after a delivery truck dropped their load off, and they weren't ready to be reloaded and go elsewhere. This would be a place to drop the trailer if there wasn't space at the Amazon location.
So we'll be open to.
Yes, we will have a contractual relationship with
With them,
before
so
Joe Blow coming in
Okay.
for the night.
Is this the most recent list of commitments?
The list hasn't changed to my knowledge, there's some primarily which, owner operated. Letter A, then use the shop permitted those three items have not changed.
Okay.
So for the second time, it went on, the petition was approved subject to the commitments that were presented and as discussed. So clearly there was the intent, the understanding that these trucks would be leased to others, which is not currently what was signed off on. The commitments again state that commercial vehicles that park at the site shall be owned and operated by the landowner. Commercial vehicles that are not owned and or operated by the landowner shall not be permitted to park at the site. So this precludes the use of leasing out to the other third-party warehouses in the area. So again, the request here is just a modification to add the ability to lease trucks to other owners for a clearer picture of the operations. Exhibit 1 is the site plan. It does show that there are existing dwellings on the property. Those will be converted on all to be office space to provide office services. There is parking shown as well, which is different than what was presented back in 2022, but the same concept is still alive, that there will be a lot of parking for these trucks for cabs that will be leased to other owners. So the idea here is this is not it's not a truck stop. It's just provide parking for local truck drivers, not an overnight truck stop. So the idea is that local drivers will keep their cabs, their trailers here when they're not driving routes. Then in the morning, whenever they're driving the routes, they'll come by their own personal car or drop off. They'll get their truck, and then they'll go drive their route, come back when they're ready, leave their truck, and then go home or do what they want until their next route. So this is just a parking place for those who are driving for local drivers. Per the site plan, again, the first exhibit, all properties here will be completely gated off, as will the entrance as well. Entrance will be gated. It will be accessed via gate codes. The gate codes can let you monitor who uses the codes, how often they are coming and going, so we're making sure that people are, when they come in, that they are also leaving. So the parking's not open to the general public. This isn't daily parking. It's monthly parking leases with the drivers. So the spaces will be used either for trucks that the owners either own themselves or that they're either leasing out to the local drivers or to companies with their own drivers. The spaces are for parking only, no maintenance, no sleeping, just purely parking. To get approved, Melissa, who's sitting with me in the yellow shirt, she's here on behalf of JFS. She helps run their operations, their management. So she explained to me what it takes in order to get approved to park at these spots for them. So that she has to meet with them. The drivers must provide their CDLs, their contact information, their plate information, insurance, and they also get drug tested as is required. So that's all that must be done in order for them to get approved. Any violations will mean that they lose the right to park there, so there's a huge incentive for them just to use this for the intended use here. The lots will be paved. Again, they'll all be fenced, and I know that for the PSG, they'll have an enclosed dumpster as needed as well. So the lots here, they're all already zoned for IG. That is consistent now with the comprehensive land use plan. I think when it was originally rezoned back in 2022, it was a little bit different then. Then it called for these properties to be IBP, but it has changed since then. So now these are all recommended to be zoned for industrial, which is all the gray here shown on the second exhibit. So part of the IG zoning district, this district is intended to accommodate a variety of industrial uses as well as other uses as well. But in locations and under conditions that minimize land use conflicts, this district should be used to support industrial retention and expansion in Hancock County. So This modification wouldn't create any sort of land use conflict, but it would be consistent with the land use plan recommending industrial, and Exhibit 2 as well shows where the properties are, completely surrounded just about by a lot of warehouses, companies that provide trucking services. There's also residential as well, but I know that there's a giant warehouse just south of the properties where the indication is on the map. That is the southernmost property. So there's a gigantic industrial complex to the east, warehouses to the south, and I know that at the corner going north, 6928 West 300 North, there's a freight terminal there already. So this wouldn't create any sort of land conflict, but it is just going to be providing a convenient location for the truck parking services that was originally presented to, and it seemed to be agreed. So we heard the discussion that on the questions from this commission of how the trucking spaces would be used, and it was presented that these would be leased out to companies like Amazon for their drivers. So again, I think it's pretty straightforward. That is what we are requesting here today. I do know that the original property, which is 2642, that was rezoned first. I believe that was a John McCarty property, and that was the one that was rezoned back in May. That was being owned or bought at the time by a company called Five Rivers LLC. That company had the express intent to only use parking for its own specific trucks. Five Rivers LLC never actually bought that property though, so never used it. So that one was presented a little bit different in its rezoning history, but they're here today making the same request as everyone else because that is not the current owner's plan of operation. They would also be leasing spaces out to the owners. So we would just present that there's the new modified commitment added, that the trailers would be leased, owned, or operated by the landowners and described as they would be in all the other commitments. There's no other request to terminate any of the commitments otherwise that were agreed to then. We do understand, of course, that there's a major concern for overnight truck parking and ensuring that there's some sort of oversight. I know that in the past the owners have said that they would be agreeable to provide any information that could be necessary to the planning department in order to ensure that, you know, they could provide the monthly leases to them of the drivers to show how many they have, who they are, just to, you know, provide some sort of form of oversight if that would be a concern. Because we do know that just daily parking, overnight parking is heavily frowned upon, and that's not their intent here. So they are more than willing to be open to providing you with any information or documentation to verify that that is not being the case. So really we're just here to request that they be modified, that they allowed to be leased to others. This would be kind of first steps in the process. They still would have to go to the BZA to get special exception permitted. They would need to convert the property. Some of this process have already started. You did hear that we have been on the BZA docket as well, but we keep continuing that one out to have this matter in front of this commission decided first. So something else worth mentioning is with respect to the site plan, when we originally met with staff, after meeting with them, we met with Gary Poole, the surveyor, to determine what drive access would be needed. At his recommendation, it was going to be an NDOT class 6 or 7 standards that would need to be followed. Those were agreed to and submitted on the updated site plan. The current drainage impact is also being worked on by the owner's engineer as well. I last spoke with him a couple weeks ago, and he has found 2 solutions for drainage, because knowing that drainage in this area is a little problematic. He has 2 solutions, one that would require easements from nearby property owners. So if one is not feasible, the second solution would be that they could hook up into the roads to get access. So it's just a matter of which one is more feasible and probably less of a cost on their end. But there is at least a known way to get or have drainage approved, and my understanding is those are agreed to by the county as well. It's just a matter of which one would be done and what the final impact would be. So that's just something else though that needs worked on, but there is a goal in sight to complete those. So allowing the modification, it's not going to have any sort of immediate impact on the properties. Again, we still must go to the BZA and get the special exception proved. It's not changing the use because, say, Amazon buys these properties, then they can go ahead and park as many trucks as they want to there, you know, subject to that approval as well. But currently, just the owners who don't own all those trucks are not able to do so. So we believe it's very clear how it was presented, that the idea was to lease these. That was discussed and understood. So we're just requesting that the commitments be modified to add that condition onto the properties. So with that, we'd be happy to answer any questions.
responsible for, the trucks that were in there, so that wasn't just anybody parking there overnight.
In Indiana code, I'm not sure if we can do this though. When an item comes from the planning commission with conditions, I don't believe those conditions can be changed by the Board of Commissioners. I think it's set in Indiana code, and I'm trying to get someone to answer because our legal counsel's not here. I don't believe we have the authority to change that. I believe that has to be sent back to the planning commission to change those before they come to the body. So that's a question that I have about this request, is the conditions that you have, while that you may want them to be changed, I'm not sure we are offered the authority under Indiana code to change those. And I don't know where that is under Title 36 to look that up right offhand.
Okay, so you believe it would have to go back to the
I
planning
believe
commission first?
I believe it does.
But it didn't it, Kayla, it did come to Plan Commission, didn't it? And it was said that they wouldn't change the,
It went to the plan commission first, and that's when, and honestly, before then, we had not reviewed the prior hearing. So when it was gone through there, they looked at it and pretty much said, well, if this went through us first and they approved it, subject to what we had in the minutes, and then it came here, they said, well, whatever commitments came out of those was at your discretion. So they said, we don't see any sort of reason at this stage that we would change this. So they said, we think you need to go there, review the hearing, and so that was done. And so once we reviewed the hearing, it looked like we had a very clear understanding of what those commitments were agreed to and even approved, because if you go further, it clearly states that the motion was to approve the petitions subject to the commitments that were presented and discussed, and that was clearly with the intent to lease them. So, I mean, I think procedurally there would be, and this could be a question, like you said, for the legal counsel. I've not looked into it because it hasn't been brought to my attention yet, otherwise I clearly would
Because I
have.
think if you're asking us to change modifications that the planning commission hasn't suggested, we're not allowed to do that. This body is not allowed to do that.
And you cannot override them? Because I know that and we have one of these coming up in Marion County, once it goes from the hearing examiner that gets approval, then it goes to the MDC after that.
I
So
think it has to come from the planning commission with the conditions expressed for the commissioners to be able to say, yes, we accept it, or no, we reject it. I just do not offhand know under Title 36
or no recommendation
where
at all.
where that falls.
Bill, I believe you're correct. There are conditions that should be placed at the plan commission level, and then if this body has anything to add to that or modify those conditions, it should go back to the plan commission once more to have those confirmed. I do have a certification from February 27th, 2024 plan commission meeting, where the plan commission gave an unfavorable recommendation to amending the zoning commitments as we had thought they might appear. Of course, like John's saying, that information has changed, but at the time, there was a negative or an unfavorable recommendation to altering those commitments at the plan commission.
Which,
So,
which we can override. We don't have to take the,
I don't think so. I think there's some Indiana code that says they have to have it presented to us before we do it. I think we found that out in the
but I mean,
Schmier
I think she's
property.
saying that she presented it as an unfavorable, but just because it was unfavorable, we can still do it.
Oh.
They presented it to us, we can still not take their,
Right, if we wanted to vote on it to accept or not accept that.
whatever the process needs to be. I remember that meeting, and the point of it was that it wasn't just an open parking lot that anybody could just pull into. And we recognized that they weren't gonna own all the trucks or lease all the trucks, but that they would be leasing the spaces to those. So I think they're right, the intent is there, whatever process we need to do to fix it, or not fix it, but that's what the intent was.
What's the recommendation of the planning department?
The recommendation was unfavorable, but when it was presented to them, it was actually different. It was not what was presented here today or at the last commission hearing. It was to terminate all of the commitments, period, because that was the belief, was that those shouldn't have been in place at all. But then, after watching the review of the hearings, it was clearly presented that the trucks would be owned or operated, but also leased. So we said they're actually fine as is, but they just need that modification in place. And so I do know that the owners are willing to do what's necessary to get this corrected as they see it. So if procedurally it needs to be tabled to possibly go back then to get represented, I'm sure they'd be in agreement to do so. But we do feel like it was just some sort of a, for whatever reason it was missed, that they needed to be, the lease language should have been included.
Would you have any problem if this matter was tabled until we could figure it out a little bit further,
I don't have any problem.
or at least continued?
No, I don't have any problem with that. I do remember what, like I said, what the intent was, and trying to stop vehicle parking out there isn't gonna stop vehicle parking out there or keep semis off the roads. This is good, whether it's an Amazon truck or some other owner operator, they need a place to park, and what better place to park than right in the middle of all those buildings?
So it wasn't about having the same trucks from a singular company park there?
No, we clearly knew that the owners had a business model where they were going to be leasing the spots. I mean, how else do you make money off of having a parking lot? You have to lease the spots to somebody, so.
So it was set up to have just different trucks come from different companies, but it was it meant to have overnight parking or anything of that matter, or was it just?
Well, the trucks are meant to be parked overnight, but the intent was for them for local drivers to park their truck there and be picked up or have their car there to go home for the night, rather than having to have a place to take their truck to. And then our only concern was whether that would become drivers sleeping in their truck if it was an open lot that didn't have key card access and a contractual relationship, then you would just have anybody pulling in, parking there overnight, lot lizards, everything else that everybody's concerned about. And so our point was to make sure that there was a contractual relationship with the company that was operating the parking lot, which from the video clearly shows, but it was not written up apparently properly. So I don't care to have it, I mean, we should probably have it tabled and send it back to the planning commission, but in the end, the intent was still the intent, and even if the planning commission comes back and says it's unfavorable, but it's still overriding, and it's still.
I'm gonna ask for a motion to table then, this, for further review.
You want it just for further review, or do you want to send it back to the planning?
I don't wanna send it back yet until I'm sure that it needs to go back, but my belief is that it does, I just don't have the right Indiana code yet.
Okay, I'll make a motion that we table this matter until further legal review can take place.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we table this matter until proper legal review can take place. All those or any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, motion passes.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Would you still like this to go to the Board of Zoning Appeals and have this addressed there?
No, because I would rather have it taken off that, because there's a chance that, the Board of Commissioners, opposes it, then I don't think it should go to the BZA before that is known.
And I'm fine with this getting figured out first. I think procedurally that does make a lot of sense. I know they still can get permitted no matter what, because clearly there's a, yeah, but, so we can make a request here.
Right.
I'll probably think about that. So, okay, thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Brown?
Hi, I'm Tammy Brown, and I came in before, and I was a little unclear about renting it or using it. And so I had a thought on the way home that day that we could just maybe call 1 or 2 days in advance of when we want to use it. And if no one else is using it, then hopefully we could. That way, it's not tied up and we're not even there. So I wondered if that would be okay for us, for me to just call someone. Usually it'll be Wednesday evening, so I would call like on Monday or Tuesday, make sure it's free, and then.
I think for now, until we're ready to get a process in place with the general public, we're not going to accept just general public requests to come and use the facility. We don't have the manpower to keep that up. That one time, the Greenfield City Park System
Right.
was doing that. And we just have people that are in other offices over there doing other things. We don't even have the ability to do what they did before. So for the time being, until we get our Parks Department created, we probably will not, well, probably is not the right word, we will not accept public use of that at this time until we get a plan in place on how we're going to address that, because along with that comes other uses as far as how do we make sure that building is secure every night after somebody uses it to get a person in and a person out. We don't have a staffer that has the ability to come over and take care of that, which we need some oversight there. So until we get that figured out, I would guess, or I would ask, that our kind of word right now is not yet, not until we get our parks people in place, and that may be a little while.
Like
We
a
just
little
created
while,
a
like
parks-
years or?
Not years, plural, but we just created a parks board at our last meeting, so we're working towards a parks department. We just don't have the staffing to dedicate to that use right
Okay.
now at the Memorial Building.
Are you letting anyone use it for pickleball?
No.
Okay.
Mainly just the school, isn't it, school?
There have been some schools with a dance team that have used that with certificate of insurance to do that, but that was the,
Okay. All right, so
Okay.
will someone let me know, or?
periodically, please call us back, either quarterly,
Okay,
to find out if that has changed. And I can't say it's gonna be years, again, plural, but we hope to have some staffing over there in the really near future that will be able to handle that.
okay. I'm not sure exactly what's in the Memorial Building. I think I've only been in there for like Riley Day type things. But, so maybe it's not feasible at all, but at the Boys and Girls Club, we just lock up after ourselves. But there's just too many people that need to use it.
Well, and there's a lot of liability that comes along with that. If somebody leaves it open and somebody gets in there and hurts a staffer the next day or does damage that night, there's a lot of issue
Yeah,
that you'd be held responsible for, that if we get a staff member in there that takes care of that goes away.
okay.
It's on
All
us.
right. Well, thank you. And
Thank you.
Sarah, I have these 2 papers that you asked.
That way you don't have to do it again. Thank you so much.
Is there any other public comment? Motion to adjourn.
So moved?
It's been moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.